Hey there, coin hunters. Let me hit you with a quick question. What's small, coppery, and could buy you a mansion? No, it's not a magic bean. It's a 2017 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yep, you heard that right. This tiny coin, the one you probably passed by a million times in your pocket change, could actually be worth $1 million. Intrigued? Stick around because today, we're diving into why this humble penny has the numismatic world buzzing, and more importantly, how you could be sitting on a gold mine without even knowing it. Before we start, let me share a little story. A few months ago, I found a penny on the floor of my car. It was grimy, covered in lint, classic floorboard penny. Little did I know, it was worth taking a closer look. Now, I didn't strike it rich with that one, but boy, it opened my eyes to the treasure hiding in plain sight. So grab your piggy banks and settle in, because we're about to get rich in knowledge and maybe in cash. What makes the 2017 D penny so special? Okay, let's get to the juicy details. The 2017 D penny is from the Denver Mint, and it was part of a commemorative run honoring the 225th anniversary of the U.S. Mint. Sounds pretty standard, right? But here's the kicker. Some of these pennies were struck with a unique error. And when it comes to coins, errors are like secret golden tickets. This particular error is known as a double die or misaligned strike. Basically, it means the design on the penny got stamped twice, creating a slightly blurry or shadowy appearance. Coin collectors, or numismatists, fancy word for coin nerds, go absolutely wild for these kinds of mistakes. Why? Because they're rare, and in the world of collectibles, rare equals valuable. How rare are we talking? We're talking finding a needle in a haystack rare. Out of the millions of 2017 D pennies minted, only a handful have this error. And that scarcity is what's driving the insane price tag. One such penny recently made headlines when it sold for nearly $1 million at auction. That's a lot of cheddar for something you can fit in the palm of your hand. How to spot a $1 million penny? So how do you know if your penny is a jackpot? Look for the D Mint mark under the date. That tells you it's from Denver. Examine it closely under a magnifying glass or loupe. If you see doubling on Lincoln's profile or the text, you might have an error coin. Check the coin's condition. The shinier and less scratched, the better. Now, don't go throwing your piggy bank against the wall just yet. Even if you don't find $1 million penny, other error coins from the same year could still fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Let me tell you about the time I thought I struck gold. I found a shiny 2017 penny with a weird smudge on it. My heart started racing. Could this be it? Could this be the one? Spoiler alert, it wasn't. Turns out, it was just a fingerprint. But hey, it got me hooked on coin collecting. Now, every time I get change at the store, I'm like Sherlock Holmes, inspecting every penny like it's a crime scene. If you do find a 2017 D penny with an error, don't just toss it on eBay for a quick buck. Get it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. These folks will certify your coin's authenticity and condition, which is crucial for fetching top dollar. From there, you can auction it off at a reputable house or sell it to a serious collector. So, there you have it. Your guide to turning pocket change into life-changing cash. Who knew a penny could pack so much potential? Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who loves a good treasure hunt, the 2017 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny is proof that sometimes the best things really do come in small packages. Now here's my challenge to you. Go dig through your couch cushions, old purses, and car floorboards. You might just stumble upon your $1 million miracle. And when you do, don't forget who told you first. Alright, if you found this video helpful, hit that subscribe button and join our community of coin enthusiasts. I post weekly tips, stories, and strategies to help you uncover the hidden gems in your change jar. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. What if I told you that a simple penny from 1967 could be worth a staggering $1.1 million? No, it's not a typo. We're talking about a rare, no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll be checking your change with a lot more curiosity and maybe a little bit of panic. Alright, let's set the stage. You're casually going through your coin jar, right? You know, the one filled with pennies, nickels, and dimes that you swear you'll eventually sort but never do. But one day, as you're mindlessly sorting through that pile of change, you spot a penny that seems Well, a little off that it's from 1967, but wait a second. There's no mint mark. And that, my friends, is where the magic happens. Let me break it down for you. What's the big deal with this 1967 penny? In 1967, every penny that came out of the U.S. Mint had a mint mark to show where it was produced, either from Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, or San Francisco, S. However, some coins from 1967, particularly those minted in Philadelphia, came out without a mint mark at all. And let me tell you, these no mint mark pennies have been the holy grail for coin collectors. It's like if you found a vintage comic book, but the pages were signed by Stan Lee. You didn't know it at first, but now you realize you're holding onto a treasure. Well, the reason this particular 1967 penny has skyrocketed in value is because of rarity and an interesting twist in coin history. Most of the 1967 pennies were produced with the mint mark, so when some slipped through the cracks without one, they were overlooked for years. Fast forward to today, and guess what? Coin experts have discovered that these no mint mark pennies are worth a pretty penny, pun totally intended. And when we're talking about a coin that has been estimated to fetch $1.1 million at auction, yeah, that's not a mistake. It's the result of a serious rarity factor. Only a few have been confirmed, and these rare pennies have taken the coin collecting world by storm. What should you do if you find one? Now, before you start hunting down every 1967 penny you can find, let me give you a reality check. Just because a penny is from 1967 doesn't mean it's automatically worth a fortune. To get that sweet $1.1 million, your coin has to meet specific conditions. First off, it needs to be in good condition. No scratches, bends, or coffee stains. Yes, people have coffee stained their coins. I've seen it. Secondly, it has to be verified as the no mint mark variety. So, get yourself a magnifying glass or one of those fancy coin loop gadgets to check for that mint mark, or the lack of it. Speaking of checking coins, I've got a personal story to share with you. A while back, I was sorting through a box of coins I found in my grandma's attic, and let me tell you, her attic was like the Bermuda Triangle for lost stuff. I found a 1967 penny. It looked pretty standard, but I didn't give it much thought. I tossed it in the meh pile along with all the other pennies I'd collected over the years. One day, I came across a video talking about this very rare 1967 penny with no mint mark. I got curious, grabbed my magnifying glass, and you won't believe it. I thought I saw something faint, but it didn't have the mint mark. My heart raced. I thought, could it be? Turns out, it wasn't the rare one. But for about 5 minutes, I was convinced I was going to be rich, and it felt like I had discovered gold. And okay, I didn't find $1 million coin that day, but I learned a valuable lesson. Always check your coins, even the ones that seem too ordinary. You never know when you'll stumble upon something worth way more than face value. So, in summary, the 1967 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a legit treasure that could be worth $1.1 million if you happen to find the right one in perfect condition. But remember, it's not just about luck. It's about knowing what to look for and understanding the coin market. And hey, if you're thinking, how do I get started with coin collecting and uncovering hidden gems? Don't worry, I've got your back. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any more tips on coins worth money, strategies for spotting rare treasures, and stories of my own coin adventures, hopefully with a little more luck next time. Thanks for watching and happy hunting out there. Who knows? Your next penny could be a gold mine waiting to be discovered. All right, folks, buckle up, because what we're talking about today might just make you rethink that penny jar you've been ignoring at the back of your drawer. If you've ever wondered if that old Abraham Lincoln penny you've got laying around could actually be worth something, you're in for a treat. Some of them are worth a lot more than you think. Imagine finding a penny worth a whopping $1.2 million. Sounds crazy, right? But guess what? It's real. Let's dive into the crazy world of the 2014 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and see what makes it worth millions. So, let's start with the basics. We all know pennies. They're those little copper coins that seem to get stuck under your couch cushions and are usually dismissed as just a penny. But not all pennies are created equal, my friends. Most of the time, when you see a penny, it's just a penny. But then there are the exceptions. And today, we're talking about one major exception that could have you sitting on a gold mine. Well, Not literally gold, but close enough. Let's rewind a little bit. In 2014, the US Mint produced a whole bunch of pennies, like it does every year. But here's where it gets interesting. Some of these 2014 pennies don't have a mint mark. For those who are like, wait, what's a mint mark? I got you. A mint mark is that little letter, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco, that tells you where the coin was made. Normally, these mint marks are stamped on the coin, but some of the 2014 pennies just don't have them. And those, my friend, are the ones you want to look for. So why is this such a big deal? Well, the 2014 no mint mark penny is rare. Like, really rare. It's a bit like finding a unicorn in a haystack. If you've ever gone coin hunting or flipped through old change, you know how hard it is to find one of these elusive pennies. And when you do, well, that's when the magic happens. These little copper wonders have been known to sell for a staggering $1.2 million. Yes, you heard me right, $1.2 million for a penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's got to be a typo, right? Nope, it's true. But here's the catch. Just finding one isn't enough to rake in the big bucks. A lot of things determine the value, like the coin's condition, rarity, and whether or not it's been preserved properly. Now, let me tell you about a little personal experience I had. I was going through some old change I'd been hoarding for years, and honestly, it was mostly just lint and broken rubber bands. But then, right at the bottom of the jar, I found something that made me pause. It was a 2014 penny, and my heart started racing. I immediately thought, could this be the one? Is it the no mint mark one? I took a close look. No mint mark. I was ready to Google everything and call my banker, but after some research, I realized it was a far cry from the $1 million coin. It turns out it was just a regular penny, no special mint error. But hey, that moment of excitement? Totally worth it. I'm not giving up yet, though. So if you're in the same boat, keep looking, because you never know when you'll find the jackpot. So, if you're still thinking, how can I spot this magical penny? Here's what to look for. First, it's a 2014 penny with an O mint mark. It's that simple. No D or S stamped on the coin. But don't just take my word for it. Check the coin under good lighting. Use a magnifying glass if you need to. Sometimes, these little details are easy to miss. And if you do find one, here's what to do next. Don't go blowing all your savings on a celebratory pizza just yet. Get it graded by a professional. There are companies like PCGS and NGC that can assess the condition of your coin. The better the condition, the more it's worth. If it's in mint condition, you're looking at the possibility of it reaching that $1 million price tag. But if it's a little scratched up, don't worry, it might still be worth a significant amount of money. So, there you have it. The 2014 no mint mark penny. A tiny coin that could make you a millionaire, or at least a lot richer than you were before. If you've got a jar of pennies sitting around, it might be time to start sorting through it. You never know what treasure could be hiding in there. And hey, if you're into finding valuable coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We've got tons of tips, tricks, and coin hunting strategies coming your way. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Who knows, the next video might just be the one that helps you find the next big thing in your pocket change. Thanks for tuning in, and happy hunting out there, coin collectors. See you in the next video, and remember, always check your change. You never know when you might hit the jackpot. How many of you have a bunch of pennies lying around that you just toss into a jar, thinking they're not worth much? Well, what if I told you that some of those pennies could actually be worth $1.3 million? Yeah, you heard that right, million. So grab that jar, because today we're talking about a very special penny from 1989 that could make you a millionaire. But don't go running to your change jar just yet. We've got some details to go over. It's 1989. The world's rocking out to Like a Prayer by Madonna. The Simpsons just debuted on TV, and George H.W. Bush was in the White House. But what really mattered, folks, was that this little guy, this tiny Abraham Lincoln penny, was sitting in circulation, just chilling in your pockets, unaware of its future fortune. A penny? Really? But hear me out. This isn't just any penny. It's a penny with no mint mark. And that's where the magic happens. Most pennies made in 1989 have a mint mark, that little letter D or S on them to show where they were made. The D is for Denver, and the S is for San Francisco. But somehow, a few pennies slipped through the cracks without that mint mark. And those few little guys are worth a whole lot more than their 1 cent face value. Now, let me explain why this matters. In coin collecting, rarity is key. If a coin is rare enough and people want it badly enough, it becomes valuable. So, this 1989 no mint mark penny is incredibly rare. So rare that collectors have been known to pay up to 1.3 million bucks for one. That's a lot of cash for a penny, huh? It's like finding a hidden treasure in your pocket, except you don't have to fight off pirates or solve any ancient riddles to get it. Okay, I know what you're thinking, but I've never seen one of these 1989 pennies with no mint mark. And that's because they're so rare that they're like a needle in a haystack. But just because you've never seen one doesn't mean it's not out there waiting to make you rich. And trust me, I've learned this the hard way. Let me tell you a quick story. A couple of years ago, I was cleaning out my old coin jar. I had pennies, nickels, dimes, and probably some ancient bottle caps in there. I didn't think twice about it. But as I was sorting through, I found a penny from 1989. It didn't have a mint mark, and honestly, I didn't think much of it. I just threw it into the maybe it's worth something pile. Fast forward a few months, and I was watching a coin collector video when they started talking about the 1989 no mint mark penny. My heart dropped. I rushed to my pile and boom, there it was. But, plot twist, it wasn't the rare one. It had the mint mark. Talk about a letdown. So, trust me, if you find a 1989 penny without a mint mark, you'll know exactly what you've got. And it might just change your life. Now, let's talk about how you can tell if your 1989 penny is the one worth big bucks. First, you've got to check for that mint mark, or lack thereof. If your penny has a D or S, it's not the one we're looking for. But if you have a clean, no mint mark penny from 1989, you might want to grab a magnifying glass and start researching how to get it appraised. The condition of the penny also plays a big role. The better its condition, the higher its value. But even in average condition, if it's a no mint mark penny, it's still worth way more than a typical penny. So, what should you do if you think you've found a rare coin? Don't just take my word for it. Get it checked out by a professional. There are plenty of reputable coin dealers and appraisers who can give you a good idea of what it's worth. And if you've got a real winner, you could end up getting an offer that could make you a millionaire. Cue the confetti, right? So, to sum it up, folks, check your pennies. You never know when you might come across a rare 1989 no mint mark penny worth a small fortune. It's crazy to think that a simple coin, something most of us wouldn't even think twice about, could change your financial future. And hey, if you're not checking your change right now, I can't blame you. I've been there. But trust me, once you start paying attention, you might just strike gold. Or at least a pretty sweet penny. Before you run off to dig through your piggy bank, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because I've got more coin tips and strategies coming your way. Who knows, the next coin we talk about could be worth even more than this one. Imagine finding a coin worth more than a brand new car, a vacation to Hawaii, or even a down payment on a house. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, grab your magnifying glass because you might just have a treasure hidden in your pocket, and it could be a 1981 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark, worth a whopping $1.4 million. Yeah, you heard me right. $1.40 million. I'm going to take you on a wild ride today, talking about the 1981 penny that might be lurking in your pocket change, worth more than any other coin in your collection. Don't worry. We'll break down how this all works and why it's causing such a stir in the coin world. Plus, stick around for my own hilarious coin-related story at the end. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. So, grab your snacks, hit that like button, and let's get into it. Alright, let's start with the basics. We all know Abraham Lincoln, right? The guy who freed the slaves and, apparently, the guy whose pennies are causing serious chaos in the coin world. So, let's talk about the 1981 penny, specifically the ones that don't have a mint mark. Mint marks are usually stamped on coins to show where they were made. For example, D means Denver, S means San Francisco, and so on. But in 1981, something weird happened. Some pennies were accidentally struck without a mint mark. Now, most of you are probably thinking, big deal. a penny without a mint mark? Who cares? But this little slip-up turned into one of the most valuable mistakes in coin history. Why? Because it's super rare. And when something's rare, it's worth more. There were only a few of these 1981 pennies made without a mint mark, and because they're so rare, collectors are fighting over them. And I mean, fighting in the nicest possible way, of course. These pennies pop up on auction sites from time to time, and when they do, the price shoots through the roof. The most famous one recently sold for about $1.4 million. Yes, a penny. A single coin. That's enough to make any coin collector's jaw drop, right? Now, why does this happen? Well, it's a combination of rarity, collector demand, and the fact that these pennies are part of U.S. history. It's like a vintage car. The less there are, the more valuable they become. And to top it all off, 1981 was a huge year for pennies, and these mint errors were like finding a needle in a haystack. People who find them are basically sitting on a gold mine. So, how do you know if you've got one of these million-dollar pennies? Don't go throwing out your change just yet. It's pretty simple to check. Take a good look at your 1981 pennies. If it doesn't have a mint mark, no D or S under the date, you might have a winner. Of course, it's not as simple as just having an unmarked penny. The coin also needs to be in mint condition. No scratches, no wear and tear. If it's been rolling around in your pocket for years, well, it might not be worth quite as much. But don't toss it just yet. Even pennies in decent condition can fetch a pretty penny, pun intended. Now, before you go running to your local coin dealer with your 1981 penny, remember that coin condition matters. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin with a grade of 70 is basically perfect, and as you can imagine, that's the type of coin that's going to get you the big bucks. So, if you find a 1981 penny, take it to a professional grader to see where it falls on the scale. Speaking of coin finds, let me tell you a funny story. A few years ago, I was going through my coin jar, looking for some rare coins for my collection, and I thought I had found a treasure. It was a 1943 steel penny, which is a pretty valuable coin. I was so excited, I almost threw it up in the air like I just won the lottery. But then, I took a closer look and realized it wasn't the steel penny I thought it was. It was just a regular, old zinc penny that had rusted. My face went from, I'm about to be a millionaire to, oh, I'm an idiot faster than you can say mint mark. Always double-check your finds, because that one mistake could be your ticket to a fortune. And who knows, maybe that 1981 penny you've got could be the next big thing. So, to sum it up, if you're lucky enough to have one of these 1981 no mint mark pennies, you could be sitting on a fortune. Remember, rarity equals value. So check your change, do some research, and maybe get that penny graded to find out if you've got a milli in your pocket. If you want to learn more about rare coins, how to spot valuable ones, and strategies to build your own collection, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. You don't want to miss out on more tips that could turn your spare change into serious cash. And hey, if you find a penny worth $1 million, don't forget to send me a thank you card for the tip. So, you're casually flipping through your change, and you spot an old Abraham Lincoln penny. You think, I wonder how much this is worth? Well, buckle up, because if you've got a 1996 D mint mark penny sitting in your wallet, it might just be worth way more than you thought. And no, we're not talking about a few cents. We're talking about up to $1.6 million. Yes, you heard that right, a penny, worth a fortune. But how, you ask? Stick around, because we're diving deep into this amazing story, and trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be checking your pockets in a whole new way. The 1996 D penny. This isn't just any penny you can find in your loose change. We're talking about a specific, rare error coin. Most of the 1996 D pennies were minted just like every other penny. Nothing special about them. But, in some rare instances, a handful of these pennies were made with a die error, which caused them to have a completely different design on them. These rare coins have become some of the most sought-after pieces in the coin collecting world, and if you find one, you could be holding onto a piece of history worth up to $1.60 million. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, sounds great, but how do I even know if I've got one of these? Good question, my friend. The first thing you want to do is check the mint mark on the coin. Look closely at the back of the penny, and you'll see a small D under the year 1996. That D tells you it was minted in Denver, and it's crucial because it's the mint that produced these super rare error coins. But hold on, finding a 1996 D penny with an error is like finding a needle in a haystack. It's not as common as you might think. So, what exactly is the error? Well, this penny was supposed to have a specific design, but a die malfunction led to some of the coins being struck incorrectly. These misprints, called double dies, create weird and sometimes almost impossible to make out details on the coin, making them incredibly rare and valuable to collectors. If you're lucky enough to have one of these rare error coins, you've got a real treasure. But don't just take my word for it. The highest known sale of a 1996 D penny with this error went for a jaw-dropping $1.6 million. Now, I'm not saying every penny like this will make you a millionaire, but let's just say it's worth a close inspection. Now, let me tell you a little story. A while ago, I was cleaning out my childhood coin collection. The one that was mostly filled with pennies, nickels, and a few shiny quarters that I thought were the big score. I came across a penny from 1996, and thinking it was just another regular penny, I tossed it back in the drawer. Fast forward to a few weeks ago, and I stumbled upon a coin collecting video, the type we all get sucked into at 2 a.m., about rare coins. Suddenly, the penny from my drawer popped into my head, and I decided to check it out. Of course, I didn't have the error coin, but for a brief, glorious moment, I thought I had struck gold. Moral of the story: check your pennies, folks, but don't get too disappointed if your penny doesn't bring in millions. Even though the 1996 D mint penny can be worth a fortune, it's not like every single one is going to make you rich. These errors are pretty rare, and the coin's condition matters a lot too. If it's beat up, scratched, or worn down, the value is significantly less. In fact, a well-worn penny like this might only be worth a few bucks. So if you've got one that looks pristine, keep your eyes peeled. So, there you have it. If you've got a 1996 D penny, it might not be just a penny. It could be worth a small fortune. And if you do find one of these rare coins, you'll be sitting pretty. But remember, condition matters, and so does the rarity of the error. Don't just toss those old pennies away. Who knows? You might have the next $1 million coin hiding in your pocket. If you found this info useful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tips on coins worth money, coin collecting strategies, and stories that will make you think twice before spending your loose change. And hey, maybe you'll find the next big score right here with us. Keep checking your coins, and let's make some money together. You're going through a jar of pennies you found at the bottom of your drawer, and bam! You spot something that looks just like any other penny. But guess what? It's not. It's a rare 1987 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, worth $1.5 million. Sounds like something out of a coin collector's dream, right? Well, let's talk about why that penny could be worth more than your car, your coffee machine, and maybe even your vacation combined. Alright, so we're diving into the world of pennies today, but not just any pennies. We're talking about the elusive 1987 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. If you're thinking, wait, isn't a penny just a penny? Well, not always. Sometimes, a penny could be hiding a fortune. First things first, let's break it down. A mint mark is a tiny letter on the penny that tells you where it was made. In the US, it's either a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or sometimes no mint mark at all. Now, most coins made in 1987 have a D or an S on them. But there's a special edition, a mystery penny, that has no mint mark. This one is rare and, in some cases, worth a small fortune. It's not like the mint decided to make this penny intentionally rare. Instead, it was a mistake during production. There was a mix-up with the dies that stamped the coins, and some 1987 pennies were struck without a mint mark. This error caused the coins to slip through the cracks, unnoticed by most collectors at the time. Because of this error, people who have this coin can sometimes sell it for big bucks. We're talking about $1.5 million bucks. That's right, a little penny worth more than your student loans, your grocery bill, and maybe even your house. You may be wondering, why is a penny worth so much? It's all about rarity, condition, and demand. There aren't many of these coins around, and those that are in excellent condition, shiny and pristine, can fetch an enormous price. The thing is, most people won't recognize a 1987 no-mint mark penny as special. It might just sit in a jar of coins like any other penny. But to a savvy collector, that's money in the bank. My personal experience with rare coins now, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was going through a box of old coins my grandma had handed down to me. It was full of pennies, dimes, and nickels, the usual. I wasn't expecting much, but there was one penny in there that stood out. It was a 1943 steel penny. I thought it was a mistake. Some weird thing that probably wasn't worth much, right? I did a quick search on Google and I learned it was worth hundreds of dollars. A quick trip to my local coin shop, and I walked out with a smile on my face and a little extra cash in my pocket. So, if you ever find a penny that looks a little different, don't just toss it back into the jar. It could be worth a lot more than you think. How to spot a 1987 no mint mark penny? Okay. So how do you find one of these? You'll need to check closely. The penny should be from 1987.it, should not have a mint mark. This is the most important part. Examine the coin for any signs of wear. If it's in pristine condition, that's even better. Take a good look at any 1987 pennies you have lying around. If you find one with no mint mark, don't immediately spend it. You might want to get it appraised by a professional or check out auction sites to see what it's going for. To wrap up, who knew that little penny you toss around could one day be worth $1.5 million? This is just one of the many hidden gems in the world of coin collecting. The trick is to keep an eye out, do your research, and maybe even dig through some old change jars. Who knows? That next coin could change your life. If you enjoyed this coin discovery journey, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more tips on coins worth money, collecting strategies, and how to spot the next big find. Trust me, you'll want to stay in the loop. Who knows what other rare coins might be hiding in plain sight? You're casually flipping through your spare change, maybe hunting for that next cup of coffee, when you spot something strange, a 1982 D. Lincoln penny. At first glance, it looks like your average penny, right? But hold up, that penny might just be worth a small fortune. Yes, I'm talking about a coin that's worth up to $1.7 million. Yes, million with an M. So grab your magnifying glass and let's dive into why your loose change might be hiding some serious cash. Alright, so here's the deal. In 1982, the US Mint made a change, literally. They switched the composition of the penny from 95% copper to 97.5% zinc, coated with copper. This change was part of an effort to save money on production costs, but it also led to a bit of a mix-up. There were some coins made that year with a copper composition and some with zinc. And among those, there's a specific variety, the 1982 D copper penny, that has caught the eyes of collectors and numismatists. That's a fancy word for coin experts, ever since. Now, most of these pennies are the zinc variety, but here's the kicker. A very small number were actually made with the old copper blend, and these copper versions are the ones that could send your bank account into overdrive. The thing is, finding one of these rare copper pennies from 1982 isn't like stumbling upon a quarter in the couch cushions. The chances are slim. In fact, they're so rare that the few that have been found have sold for staggering amounts, some even fetching around $1.7 million at auctions. That's a lot of pennies for just one penny, right? To identify one of these rare beauties, you'll need to do some detective work. First off, look for a penny from 1982 with a D mint mark, meaning it was produced in Denver. Then, you'll need to check the weight. A regular 1982 penny weighs 2.5 grams, while the copper version weighs 3.11 grams. If you've got a trusty scale, or just a kitchen scale that you're not using for actual cooking purposes, weigh your penny. If it's heavier than 2.5 grams, you might just have yourself a gold mine. But hey, it's not as easy as just looking at your change jar. I learned that the hard way when I once thought I had struck gold with a 1943 copper penny, until I realized it was just a regular 1943 steel penny. Classic rookie mistake, right? It turns out I wasn't going to retire just yet, but that's the fun of coin collecting. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, and sometimes you just get a good laugh. So, what does this mean for you? If you've got a 1982 D penny hanging around, it's worth checking out. Even if you don't have one, this could inspire you to start taking a closer look at your pocket change. You never know what might be hiding in there. And remember, while the 1982 D copper penny is incredibly rare, there are plenty of other coins out there that could be worth more than you think. Alright, That's the scoop on the 1982 D copper Lincoln penny and its insane market value of up to $1.7 million. I mean, can you imagine? Just finding one of these could be a life-changing moment. So, before you toss that handful of pennies in the jar, take a second to give them a once-over. You might just be holding on to a small fortune. And hey, if you want more tips on which coins could make you a millionaire, or maybe just give you some extra cash for a weekend getaway, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm here to help you unlock all kinds of coin-related treasures. Plus, I've got plenty of other stories about my own adventures in coin collecting. Trust me, you don't want to miss them. Hey there, treasure hunters. Are you sitting on $1 million jackpot and don't even know it? Well, you might be, because today we're diving into the incredible story of the 1999 Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. That's right. This humble little coin might just be worth more than your car, your house, and your college degree combined. How's that for small change? Stick around, because not only are we going to uncover why this penny is so special, but I'll also share a wild story about how I almost threw away a coin worth a small fortune. Spoiler alert. It involved a vending machine, a Snickers bar, and a lot of regret. Let's get into it. First, what's the deal with the 1999 Mint Mark penny? Well, this penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Normally, coins from Philly don't have a mint mark, so on the surface, it might seem pretty ordinary. But here's where it gets interesting. A rare error coin from this batch somehow ended up with a slightly different design and some production quirks. These rare pennies were released into circulation, and most people didn't notice them. Fast forward a few decades, and collectors are going nuts for this little copper marvel. So, what makes this penny worth a jaw-dropping $1 million? Well, it's a mix of rarity, condition, and collector demand. Some 1999 Mint Mark pennies were struck on pre-1982 copper planchets instead of the zinc ones used post-1982. That's like finding a cassette tape in your AirPods case. It just shouldn't happen. And if your coin has that combination, plus it's in mint or near mint condition, you might be holding a gold mine. But hold on. Before you go dumping out your piggy bank, let's talk about how to identify this coin. First, look for that clean, polished, no mint mark under the date. Then, you'll want to weigh it. A standard zinc penny should weigh about 2.5 grams, but the copper era coins weigh closer to 3.1 grams. Don't use your bathroom scale. I tried that once, and let's just say I got some strange looks when I told people my penny weighed 0.001 pounds. Now, if you think you've got one of these unicorn coins, it's time to call in the experts. Have it authenticated by a professional coin grader. Trust me, that $30 grading fee is worth it when you're staring at $1 million payday. Now, let me tell you about the time I almost gave away a valuable coin. A few years ago, I was digging through my change jar, looking for quarters for a vending machine. I was starving, okay? I grabbed a handful of coins, including this shiny penny I'd never really looked at. Fast forward to 2 days later. I'm watching a video about rare coins, and there it is, my penny on the screen. My stomach dropped. I ran back to the vending machine, hoping it hadn't been emptied. Spoiler alert, it had. Somewhere out there, my potential treasure is sitting in someone else's pocket. Or worse, under a couch cushion. Always check your change before you spend it. Alright, so what's the takeaway here? That penny in your pocket could be worth $1 million. Don't underestimate those little copper discs. They've got stories to tell, and sometimes, those stories are worth a fortune. If you found this video helpful, or at least mildly entertaining, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. I'll be sharing more tips on coins worth money, how to spot hidden gems in your pocket change, and how to turn everyday finds into big profits. Keep searching, keep collecting, and keep dreaming big. Who knows? Your next penny might just pay for your dream vacation or your kid's college tuition. You're digging through your couch cushions for spare change to buy a coffee, and bam, you pull out a penny that's worth more than your car. No, scratch that, your house. Sounds like a fantasy, right? Well, today, we're diving into the story of the 2020 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a little copper coin that could be worth up to $1.1 million. Yeah, you heard me right, $1 million for a penny. Stick around, because I'm going to break down why this coin is so valuable, how to spot one, and how you might just hit the jackpot without even realizing it. Alright, let's start with a little backstory on the 2020 D Lincoln penny. The D stands for Denver, which is where it was minted. This penny is part of the Shield series, which is relatively common, except for one tiny detail that can make it worth a fortune. Drumroll, please. It's an error coin. And not just any error, but one of the most sought-after ones in recent history. Now, error coins are like the factory rejects of the coin world, but instead of being worthless, they're the exact opposite. The 2020D penny we're talking about has a rare die clash error. That's when the coin press doesn't align properly and you get overlapping designs. Chaotic, but valuable. Not all 2020D pennies are worth millions. Most are just your average 1-cent pieces. The $1 million versions are those rare error coins in near-perfect condition, graded as MS 68 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. Basically, the closer it looks to mint fresh, the higher its value. Now, let me tell you about the time I almost lost my shot at coin glory. A few years ago, I was sorting through a jar of pennies. I'm talking hundreds of them. I found what looked like an error coin and thought, oh, cool. This might be worth a few bucks. I tossed it into a random drawer, completely forgot about it, and only remembered when I saw an article about a similar coin selling for thousands. By the time I dug it out, it had a big scratch. Guess what it was worth? A whopping 10 cents. Moral of the story: don't let your coins roll away, literally and figuratively. So, how do you know if you've got the $1 million 2020D penny? First, look for that D mint mark on the front, just below the date. Then, examine the coin under good lighting. Check for unusual patterns, overlapping designs, or anything that screams error. If you think you've got something special, send it off to a grading service. Sure, it'll cost you a small fee, but trust me, it's worth it. Now, let's talk about market value. Why would anyone pay over $1 million for a penny? It's all about rarity and demand. Coin collectors, especially the die-hard ones, are like Pokemon trainers. They gotta catch 'em all. And when a coin is both rare and in mint condition, it becomes the holy grail of their collection. The most recent auction for a 2020D error penny hit $1.1 million, and there's speculation that prices could climb even higher in the future. So, if you've got one, you're basically holding a tiny, shiny lottery ticket. So, what's the takeaway here? First, never underestimate your spare change. That little penny at the bottom of your junk drawer could change your life. Second, always double-check your coins for errors. Seriously, get a magnifying glass if you need to. And finally, don't forget to store your coins properly. No one's paying $1 million for a scratched-up penny you found in your car's cup holder. All right, treasure hunters, that's a wrap on today's coin adventure. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins worth big money, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I post weekly videos about coin strategies, rare finds, and the occasional coin-related fiasco, because, hey, life happens. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a cool coin, or if you're now frantically checking your pockets. We're diving into the fascinating story of the 2000 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Why it's so special, how to identify one, and most importantly, how it managed to hit that jaw-dropping $1.2 million price tag. Stick around because you don't want to accidentally spend a fortune on a soda. So, what's the deal with this coin? The 2000 Abraham Lincoln penny is pretty common, right? Billions of them were made. But here's the catch. The no-mint mark version is what we call a modern-day unicorn in the coin collecting world. No mint mark means it wasn't made in Denver, where they have a little D, or Philadelphia, where they have a little P. These no-mint mark pennies are usually minted in Philadelphia, but for some bizarre reason, in 2000, a batch came out with nothing. Nada. Zilch. It's like the mint just forgot to sign their work. And boy, did that mistake turn into a golden goose. Why is it worth so much? Well, rarity is key. Out of billions of pennies produced that year, only a handful of these no-mint mark pennies were discovered. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, if the haystack were also on fire. But rarity isn't the only factor. Condition matters, too. Collectors and auctions go crazy for pristine, uncirculated coins. So, if your penny looks like it's been through a washing machine twice, it might not fetch millions, but it's still worth checking. Grab a magnifying glass or, honestly, just use your phone's camera zoom feature. Check under the date. If there's no little D or P, you might have hit the jackpot. And if the penny is shiny, like it's been chilling in a time capsule, you're in business. Speaking of business, let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I found a weird-looking penny in my own stash. I was convinced it was special, so I did what any self-respecting amateur would do. I Googled it. Turns out it wasn't worth a dime, pun intended. But here's the funny part. That penny sparked my obsession with coin collecting. Now, every time I get change, I feel like I'm auditioning for Antiques Roadshow, so what's the moral of the story here? Don't ignore those pennies. That 2000 Nomint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny could be sitting in your pocket, purse, or even under your couch cushions. Take a closer look because you never know when a tiny coin could turn into a massive payday. Before you dash off to rummage through your change jar, here's the deal. If you enjoyed this little treasure hunt, hit that subscribe button. I share tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth money, so you don't miss out on the next $1 million find. Oh, and drop a comment below. What's the weirdest or most valuable coin you've ever found? Alright, happy hunting, and remember, one person's penny is another person's $1 million dream. What if I told you that a single 2013 Nomint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny is worth a jaw-dropping $1.3 million? Yup, you heard that right. That tiny copper coin rattling around in your pocket could be your ticket to early retirement, or at least a very fancy vacation. Stick around because today, we're diving deep into why this seemingly ordinary penny has such an extraordinary value. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be rating every piggy bank in sight. Let's start with the basics. The 2013 Nomint Mark penny features good OL, Honest Abe on the front, looking as stoic as ever, and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Now, here's the kicker. Nomint Mark pennies are nothing unusual. In fact, coins minted in Philadelphia often lack a mint mark altogether. So, what makes this penny worth more than my entire car? Drumroll, please. It's all about the error. This particular 2013 penny was struck on a bronze planchet instead of the usual zinc-coated copper. This wasn't supposed to happen in modern minting processes, but every once in a while, the mint pulls a hoopsie. These errors are like unicorns. They're rare, magical, and worth a fortune if you find one. Here's where it gets wild. Only a handful of these bronze planchet pennies exist, and most of them have been snatched up by collectors willing to drop serious cash. One of these bad boys even sold at auction for over $1.3 million. Can you imagine? Someone literally traded a penny for a mansion. I don't know about you, but I'd be happy with just a solid Taco Tuesday budget. Now, you might be wondering, how can I tell if my 2013 penny is the one? Great question. First, grab a magnet. If your penny doesn't stick, you might have a winner because bronze isn't magnetic. Next, weigh it. A normal penny weighs about 2.5 grams, but a bronze error penny tips the scales at 3.11 grams. And if you think you've struck gold, or bronze in this case, get that coin authenticated by a professional. Don't just post a blurry photo on Reddit and hope for the best. Let me share a quick story to make this relatable. A couple of years ago, I was cleaning out an old drawer and found a bunch of random coins. Most of them were regular pennies, but I decided to Google a few just for fun. Long story short, I didn't find a $1 million penny, but I did discover a quarter worth about $10. It wasn't life-changing money, but it paid for coffee that week, and now I'm hooked on checking my spare change. Who knew being a coin nerd could be so rewarding? Alright, folks, here's the deal. That 2013 Nomint Mark penny may seem ordinary, but with a little luck and a keen eye, it could turn out to be a life changer. So, the next time you see a penny on the ground, don't just walk past it. Pick it up. Who knows, it might be worth more than you think. And hey, if you're diving into coin hunting, let me know in the comments if you've ever found anything cool. If you enjoyed this video, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and stories about coins that are worth big money. Let's turn your spare change into a treasure trove. We're diving into the mind-blowing world of the 1968 D. Lincoln penny. This seemingly ordinary coin could turn your pocket change into life-changing money. Stick around because I'll break down why this coin is worth a fortune, how to spot it, and who knows, you might just have one chilling in a jar somewhere. And trust me, if you've ever been broke and resorted to digging through couch cushions, this video will hit close to home. Let's get into it. All right, let's set the stage. The year is 1968. Gas costs 34 cents a gallon. Miniskirts are all the rage, and the U.S. Mint is cranking out Lincoln pennies. Most of them, totally normal. But a select few, oh boy, they hit the jackpot of errors. The 1968 D penny gets its value from being a double-die error coin. Don't know what that means? Basically, it's like the mint had one too many cups of coffee that day and accidentally struck the coin twice. You'll see it in the lettering and numbers. Everything looks slightly doubled. It's like the coin has a shadow, but cooler. Now, these coins weren't supposed to leave the mint, but mistakes happen. And what's bad for the mint is great for collectors like you and me. Fast forward to today, and collectors are going bananas over this penny. In fact, one of these bad boys sold at auction for a staggering $1.4 million. That's right. 1 cent turned into seven figures to SO. How do you know if you've got the golden ticket of pennies? First, grab a magnifying glass or one of those nifty coin microscopes. Look closely at the 1968 date, the D mint mark, which stands for Denver, by the way, and the words Liberty and In God We Trust. If you see doubling boom, you might be holding a fortune. Just because it's a 1968 D penny doesn't mean it's automatically worth millions. The double die error is what makes it special. Without it, it's worth, well, a penny. Here's where it gets personal. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my grandpa's attic. You know, the classic, what's up with all this old stuff scenario. I stumbled on a dusty jar of coins. At first, I didn't think much of it. Just a bunch of pennies, nickels, and a faint whiff of nostalgia. But then, curiosity got the better of me. I grabbed a magnifying glass and started inspecting. Did I find a 1968 D penny? Sadly, no. But I did find a 1943 steel penny worth about $20, which funded my next trip to Starbucks. Moral of the story? You never know what treasure might be hiding in plain sight. Go check your piggy banks, jars, and even that weird drawer in your kitchen where all the random stuff goes. You could be sitting on $1 million coin and not even know it. If this video has you itching to learn more about valuable coins, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. I post tips, stories, and strategies to help you spot the gems hiding in your spare change. And hey, leave a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin or just want to share your coin hunting adventures. Thanks for watching, and remember, every penny counts, especially if it's worth $1.4 million. We're diving into one of the most talked about coins in the collector's world, the 1949 wheat penny with no mint mark. That's right, a humble little penny that could supposedly fetch a jaw-dropping $1.5 million. Sounds too good to be true, right? Let's break it down and find out if you've got one of these hidden gems lying around. Now, before you grab that jar of pennies sitting in the corner of your kitchen, stick with me. We'll explore why this penny is so special, what makes it worth so much, and whether it's time for you to cash in. Oh, and trust me, you'll want to hear the story of how I almost threw away a coin that turned out to be worth more than my first car. All right, let's start with the basics. The 1949 wheat penny with no mint mark. What's the big deal? Well, first, let's clarify what a no mint mark penny means. Coins minted in Philadelphia typically don't have a mint mark. So, if you see a 1949 penny without a little D or S under the date, congratulations, it's from Philly. But not all 1949 no mint mark pennies are worth millions. What makes this particular penny so valuable? It's all about condition and rarity. Coin collectors, or numismatists if you're feeling fancy, look for coins in pristine condition. We're talking about pennies that look like they were minted yesterday. No scratches, no discoloration, no signs of wear. These are graded by professionals, and the top-tier condition is called MS-68, that's mint state, for the uninitiated. A 1949 wheat penny in MS-68 condition with no mint mark is incredibly rare. Only a handful have ever been found, and one of these bad boys sold at auction for, you guessed it, $1.5 million. But before you start planning your retirement, let's be real. The odds of finding one in your change are slim, but not impossible. Coins get lost in circulation all the time, and who knows? Maybe you'll be the lucky one to stumble upon a treasure. Here's where my personal story comes in. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my car. You know, The one chore we all avoid until it's absolutely necessary. Among the pile of old receipts, gum wrappers, and an embarrassingly large number of ketchup packets, I found a penny that looked different. It had a weird shine to it. At first, I almost tossed it in the coin jar, but something told me to hold on to it. Turns out, it wasn't a 1949 penny, but it was a rare 1955 double-die penny worth $1,200. Not quite a million, but hey, that penny paid for a nice weekend getaway. Moral of the story? Always check your coins before you cash them in for laundryquarters.so. Is the 1949 wheat penny with no mint mark worth $1.5 million? It can be, but only if it's in perfect condition. That's the dream, right? Finding a fortune in your pocket change. But even if you don't hit the jackpot, coin collecting can be a fun and surprisingly profitable hobby. Next time you're about to spend a penny, take a closer look. Who knows? You might just be holding a piece of history, and maybe even a small fortune. If you found this video helpful, or at least mildly entertaining, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'll be sharing more tips on coins worth money, strategies for building your collection, and a few more embarrassing stories along the way. Don't miss out. You're digging through your couch cushions or flipping through an old jar of pennies, and BM. You find a coin worth $1.60 million. Yes, you heard me right, $1.6 million. No, this isn't a joke, and no, I'm not trying to sell you something. Today, we're talking about the 1997 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a tiny piece of copper that's worth more than your dream home. Let's dive in. All right, so what's the deal with this penny? Why is it worth more than a sports car? Well, the 1997 D penny isn't just any old coin. It's special because of a little minting error. That D Mint mark stands for the Denver Mint, where millions of pennies were produced in 1997. But, plot twist, some pennies had a unique defect. Collectors call it a double die, which basically means part of the coin's design was stamped twice, giving it a funky, slightly off-kilter look. Think of it like the coin equivalent of a selfie gone wrong, except instead of deleting it, it's now a collector's dream. Not every 1997 D penny is worth a fortune. The ones that are raking in the big bucks are in pristine condition, graded as MS, 68 or higher. That's collector speak for this coin is basically flawless. So, if you've got one, don't just toss it into a vending machine for a Snickers bar. You could be holding a gold mine. Let me tell you a quick story. A while back, I was cleaning out an old drawer in my grandma's house. You know the kind. Full of buttons, random keys, and pennies so old they look like they've been through the Great Depression. I almost tossed the whole jar, but something told me to take a closer look. I didn't find a $1.6 million penny, but I did find a wheat penny from 1943 worth a couple $100. Not bad for a day of cleaning, right? Moral of the story, always check your change. Okay, back to the 1997 D penny. You're probably wondering, how do I know if I have one of these? Grab a magnifying glass or use the zoom on your phone camera. Look closely at the Liberty, inscription, or the date. If it looks like the letters or numbers are slightly doubled, you might have struck it rich. And if you think your penny is in mint condition, send it to a coin grading service like PCGS or NGC to get it officially graded. Trust me, it's worth the investment. So, why is this penny worth $1.6 million? It all boils down to rarity and demand. Coin collectors love unique finds, especially when they're super rare. And because so few of these double-die 1997 D pennies exist, the market value skyrockets. Low supply, high demand, cha-ching. Before you rush off to raid your piggy bank, let me leave you with this. Coin collecting is like a real-life treasure hunt. You never know what kind of hidden gems might be lurking in your pocket change. And hey, even if you don't find a $1.6 million penny, it's still a fun way to learn about history and make a little extra cash. If you found this video helpful, or at least mildly entertaining, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on more tips about coins worth money and other clever strategies to fatten your wallet. Who knows? Your next big payday could be sitting right in your spare change jar. You're digging through your old piggy bank, and bam, you find a penny. But not just any penny. This isn't your average, oh, I'll toss it in the tip jar kind of penny. Nope, this is a penny that could be worth a staggering $1.7 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, worth enough to buy a house, a car, and maybe even your dream vacation. Let's talk about the 1970 Mint Mark Lincoln penny, why it's so valuable, and how you might just have one of these golden tickets in your change jar. Spoiler alert, you're going to want to check your coins after this video. Alright, let's break this down. What's so special about the 1970 Mint Mark Lincoln penny? First, let's talk about what the D means. That D stands for the Denver Mint, where this coin was produced. Denver has cranked out a lot of pennies over the years, but this one's different. What makes this penny worth $1.7 million isn't just its age. It's an error. And we're not talking about a little oopsie. We're talking about a colossal, once-in-a-generation mistake. Some of these pennies were accidentally struck on a 1941 Canadian penny planchet. Yup, a US penny on a Canadian coin blank. It's like mixing maple syrup with cheeseburgers. It's not supposed to happen, but when it does, it's unforgettable. Now, you might be wondering, why does an error make it worth so much? Great question. Error coins are like the quirky friend in your group, rare, unique, and always interesting. Collectors love these mistakes because they're one of a kind. The 1970 penny struck on the wrong planchet is particularly special because only a few were ever made, and even fewer were discovered. So, how do you know if you have one? Well, first, grab a magnifying glass. If you don't have one, just squint really hard. Look at the date, 1970, obviously. Then check for the D mint mark below the date. Next, check the weight. These error coins weigh slightly less than your typical penny. If you think you've hit the jackpot, don't take it to a random coin shop. Get it authenticated by a professional grading service. Trust me, you don't want someone telling you it's worth 50 cents when it's actually worth $1.70 million. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my junk drawer. You know the one. Random batteries, a tape measure you've used once, and of course, a mountain of coins. I found this crusty old penny, and for a split second, I thought it could be one of these rare errors. I spent hours Googling, comparing it to pictures online, and even weighed it on my kitchen scale. Turns out, it wasn't the golden ticket. It was just a sticky old penny that had somehow survived a trip through the washing machine. But hey, at least my curiosity was piqued. And that's the fun part of coin collecting. Even if you don't strike it rich, you learn a ton along the way. Plus, you develop a new appreciation for all those little coins jingling around in your pockets. So, there you have it. The 1970 Mint Mark Lincoln penny, the tiny coin that could make you a millionaire. Whether you're an avid collector or just someone who's curious about what's lurking in your spare change, this is a coin worth knowing about. Go check your coin jars, your couch cushions, and maybe even that junk drawer. Who knows? You might be sitting on a fortune and not even know it. Before you dive into the treasure hunt, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell. I've got tons of tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth money, strategies for collecting, and how to spot the next big find. Let's turn those pennies into possibilities, one video at a time. Thanks for watching and happy hunting. Remember, every coin has a story, and you might just uncover one that's worth $1 million. Well, don't toss that loose change aside just yet, because one seemingly ordinary penny might just make you a millionaire. That's right. Today we're diving into the fascinating, and yes, occasionally absurd, world of rare coins. Specifically, the 1977 No Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Believe it or not, one of these little copper discs has a current market value of up to $1.8 million. So stick around, because I'll be sharing why this coin is so valuable, how to spot one, and how you might be sitting on a tiny fortune without even knowing it. Alright, let's break it down. First off, why is this penny so special? Well, it's all about the lack of a mint mark. Usually, US coins have a tiny letter stamped on them to indicate where they were made, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and so on. But in 1977, a batch of pennies somehow left the Philadelphia Mint without any mint mark at all. Oops! This little manufacturing mishap created one of the rarest pennies in circulation. The No Mint Mark 1977 Lincoln penny is like finding a needle in a haystack. If the haystack was made of millions of other pennies that look almost identical. But hey, the rarity is what makes it valuable. Now, let's talk about that $1.8 million price tag. Why such a ridiculous amount for 1 cent? Well, it's simple. Demand. Collectors love rare coins, and the rarer the coin, the higher the price. Think of it like this. It's the same reason people will pay thousands for a misprinted Pokemon card or a first edition Harry Potter book. The 1977 no-mint mark penny is the coin equivalent of a unicorn. Finding one is no small feat. Most of these pennies have been snatched up by collectors or lost to time. And those that do pop up have to be in pristine condition, what experts call mint state. So if your penny looks like it's been chewed on by a lawnmower, it's probably not fetching $1.8 million anytime soon. Now, a quick personal story. I used to be one of those people who ignored pennies altogether. You know, the leave a penny, take a penny kind. But one day, while cleaning out my car's cup holder, the black hole of spare change, I stumbled across a 1977 penny. My heart skipped a beat. Could it be the legendary no-mint mark penny? I grabbed a magnifying glass, inspected it like a detective on a crime scene, and nope, there was a big OLD staring back at me. Heartbreaking, right? But hey, it taught me the value of paying attention to the details, literally. So, how can you spot a no-mint mark 1977 penny? Grab a magnifying glass or, let's be real, your phone's camera, and take a closer look at the front of the coin. Right below the year, there should be nothing. Nada. Zilch. If you see a tiny D or S, sorry to say, it's not the $1 million coin. But if it's blank, congratulations, you might just be holding a piece of history. Alright, folks, let's wrap this up. The 1977 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is proof, pun intended, that treasure can be hiding in plain sight. So next time you're digging through your couch cushions, don't just look for snack crumbs. Keep an eye out for rare coins too. And hey, if you found this video helpful, or even just mildly entertaining, do me a favor to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more coin tips, tricks, and strategies coming your way, from spotting valuable quarters to making the most out of your loose change. Who knows? Your next find could fund that dream vacation or, better yet, an early retirement. Thanks for watching, and remember, every penny counts. Literally. I know we all have that one penny lying around, probably in the couch cushions, under the car seat, or stuck in your jeans pocket, right? But did you know that one particular penny could be worth nearly $2 million? Yep, you heard that right. I'm talking about the 2008 penny with an no-mint mark. You might want to go check those dusty pockets after hearing this. So, if you're ready to learn what makes this penny so special and how it could make you a small fortune, grab a snack, hit that subscribe button, and let's dive in. So, let's get into it. You're probably thinking, wait, didn't the 2008 penny have a mint mark? Wasn't it supposed to have one? You're not wrong. But here's the kicker. Some of the 2008 pennies don't have the mint mark, and that's where the magic happens. Before we talk about the big price tag, let's quickly go over what a mint mark is. You've probably noticed that most of your coins have a little letter on them, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But the 2008 penny? Some of them were made in Philadelphia and didn't have a mint mark. It's like the coin was born without a name tag. And while that might sound like a mistake, it's actually what makes this penny so valuable. See, the US Mint was supposed to put mint marks on coins, but they didn't put one on some of the 2008 pennies from Philadelphia. At first, they didn't think much of it. It was just another penny, right? Wrong. Fast forward to today, and these babies are worth a lot of money. Some collectors go wild for coins with errors or mistakes because they're unique and rare. And this is one of those coins. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, I've got a jar full of pennies, but I haven't checked for mint marks yet, don't panic. Not every 2008 penny without a mint mark is worth a fortune. Most of the ones out there are still just pennies, and you might need a magnifying glass to spot a legit error. But here's the thing. If you've got one in mint condition, no wear and tear, it could fetch you upwards of, are you ready for this? $1.9 million. That's right, million. I can almost hear your heart racing as you go through your coins now. Imagine that. A penny worth $1 million. I mean, can you picture going into the grocery store, paying with your 2008 penny, and the cashier just staring at you like, is that worth a house? All right, let's break down the value a little more. The condition of the coin is everything. A well-preserved 2008 no-mint mark penny can bring in big money, especially if it's graded by a professional. And if you've got one that's been tucked away in a safe place, untouched, it could be your ticket to a new car. Or, maybe just a nice vacation. But hey, you're one lucky person if you find one. Okay, real talk. I had a moment like this once. I was at my grandma's house, going through her drawer of random coins. She always kept a jar of pennies for good luck or something. It was a mess, clutter everywhere, just a mountain of random change. One day, I thought, why not check these out? So, I go through them and I found this random old penny. It didn't look like much, but I thought, hey, let's give it a quick Google search. I almost fell out of my chair when I saw it was actually a rare 1943 steel penny. It wasn't worth $1 million, but it was worth way more than any regular penny. So, moral of the story? Don't underestimate the change in your couch cushions. You never know what treasure is hiding there. So, there you have it. That 2008 no-mint mark penny could be worth $1.9 million if it's in the right condition. But remember, not every penny is going to make you a millionaire. It's all about knowing what to look for, and that's where I come in. If you want more tips on how to spot rare coins, uncover hidden treasures, and maybe even make some cash, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell so you never miss an update, because, trust me, you don't want to miss out on any coin secrets that could change your life. And hey, if you find a 2008 penny without a mint mark, let me know in the comments. I might just be jealous. Imagine you're strolling through your coin jar, grabbing a handful of loose change, and then, BM, you spot something unusual, a 1967 penny that looks just like any other penny. But hold up. What if I told you this exact penny could be worth up to $1 million? Yeah, you heard that right. That shiny little piece of copper could have a hefty price tag, and I'm here to tell you exactly why. But don't worry, I'm not about to leave you hanging. Stick with me through this video, and I'll walk you through how a tiny error could turn your humble coin into a true treasure. Spoiler alert. If you've got a 1967 penny without a mint mark, you might just be holding a golden ticket to the coin world. Let's dive in. Alright, let's start with the basics. If you're anything like me, you probably have a jar of loose pennies sitting around. You know the ones, your pocket change, your couch cushions, maybe even under the car seat. Some of them have seen better days, while others are just begging for some attention. But did you know that one specific penny from 1967 is causing a ton of buzz in the numismatic world? Normally, pennies from this year aren't anything to write home about, well, unless you're a die-hard collector. However, there's a little secret hidden in some of them. An O mint mark. Now, you might be thinking, wait, every penny has a mint mark, right? Well, not quite. The mint mark tells us where the coin was produced, whether it came from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. Usually, you'll see that little D or S somewhere on the coin. But in 1967, some pennies were made in Philadelphia, and guess what? They didn't stamp them with a mint mark. This tiny detail, this lack of a mint mark, makes a huge difference in value. So, what makes these mintless 1967 pennies so special? Well, it's a bit of a rarity. You see, most pennies from that year have the typical mint marks. The ones without a mark? They were likely part of a minor minting error, which, as you probably know, can make them incredibly valuable to collectors. Now, I can hear you saying, but is it really worth $1 million? It's not a guaranteed jackpot every time. But certain versions of the 1967 no-mint mark penny have sold for prices in the high thousands, and in some rare cases, a lucky penny has fetched close to that $1 million mark. Mind-blowing, right? And here's the kicker. Finding one of these rarities isn't exactly easy. The 1967 no-mint mark penny isn't just sitting around in your grandma's purse. You're going to have to sift through a lot of common coins to find it, and that's where it gets exciting. Imagine you're casually flipping through your pennies, not thinking much of it, and then, boom, you find it. That little mistake could turn your day into a trip to the bank of dreams. Let me tell you, this brings back memories for me. A few years ago, I was helping my buddy clean out his garage. It was a disaster, by the way. And as we were digging through old boxes, I came across a random 1967 penny sitting in the bottom of a dusty jar. It was just there, lonely and unassuming. But, lucky for me, I remembered hearing about the no mint mark pennies and decided to check. Long story short, I didn't hit the jackpot, but I did sell it for a nice chunk of change. So, I'm here to tell you, it's worth checking your coins. Alright, folks, I hope I've convinced you to give your pennies a second glance. That 1967 no mint mark penny might just be hiding somewhere in your collection, and trust me, you don't want to miss out on the chance to cash in on this rare find. So, before you toss that penny back into your jar, give it a close look. It could be the start of something special. And if you're serious about diving deeper into the world of rare coins, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I've got more tips, tricks, and coin hunting strategies coming your way. Who knows? Maybe the next coin you find will be worth even more than you expect. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my future tips and treasure hunts. Keep your eyes peeled, keep hunting, and keep having fun with your coin collection. You're digging through your old coin jar, just looking for some loose change to grab a snack, and then, boom, you find something that could potentially be worth over $1,000,000. Yes, you heard that right. It's a 1984 penny, no mint mark. Sounds crazy, right? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into the wild world of rare coins, and you'll want to stick around to the end, because I've got some tips that might just make you the next big coin collector. Alright, so what's the deal with this 1984 penny? Why is it worth so much? Well, first off, let me break it down. Normally, a 1984 penny is worth, what, maybe a penny? But, yep, there's always a but. There's a rare version of this penny that doesn't have a mint mark. And guess what? That little absence of a mint mark has turned it into a mega collectible. To put it into perspective, a 1984 penny without a mint mark sold for a jaw-dropping $1.1 million at auction. Yeah, I can almost hear your jaw hitting the floor. Now, before you start scouring your couch cushions, let me tell you, not every 1984 penny is going to bring in the big bucks. So how do you spot one of these million-dollar gems? First, let's talk mint marks. If you flip over a regular penny, you'll usually see a small D or S on the reverse side under E pluribus unum. Those letters indicate where the penny was minted. The D stands for Denver, and the S stands for San Francisco. But a 1984 penny with no mint mark at all? That's the holy grail. Now, the reason this penny is so rare and valuable is because it's a mistake. The 1984 no mint mark penny wasn't supposed to happen. You see, the Philadelphia Mint was supposed to produce pennies with no mint mark for years, but somehow, some of the 1984 pennies slipped through the cracks with no mint mark at all. A little slip-up that turned into a major jackpot for collectors. Some lucky person probably found it, looked at it, and thought, well, it's just another penny. Meanwhile, they had a small fortune sitting right in their hand. And now, you could be that person. Well, theoretically, at least, you're probably wondering, okay, so how do I know if I have one? Well, if you're sitting there looking at your 1984 pennies, I've got a few tips. First, check the mint mark. It's really tiny, but it's crucial. If there's nothing there, congratulations. You could be holding something special. Now, remember, condition matters. If your penny is covered in dirt, corrosion, or just looks like it's been through the washing machine a few times, it's probably not going to fetch that $1.1 million price tag. But if it's in good shape, you might have something worth serious cash. I'll tell you a funny story. Back when I first got into coin collecting, I found a penny from the 80s in my change jar, and I thought it was special because it looked shiny. I did the most classic rookie mistake. I tried to clean it. I used a little toothpaste and a rag, thinking, oh, this is going to shine up real nice. Spoiler alert, I ruined it. Yep, I took a potential gem and made it look like an even more generic penny. So, my advice, learn from my mistake. Don't try to polish your rare coins. Just keep them as they are, in good condition, and let the experts do the rest. But seriously, the most important thing to remember here is that a 1984 penny with no mint mark is extremely rare, but that doesn't mean every one of them will make you rich. You've got to make sure it's in mint condition. If it is, though, you might want to get it graded by a professional, because that's how you'll know if it's really worth what it could be. Your 1984 no mint mark penny could be a gold mine if it's in good condition and free from any accidental cleaning disasters like my own. But don't just take my word for it. Check your coins, do your research, and if you've got something rare, get it evaluated by a professional. And hey, even if you don't have a $1.1 million penny lying around, remember, there are plenty of other rare coins out there that could be worth a fortune. Now, if you're as excited as I am about the possibility of finding rare coins, hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more coin tips, tricks, and market strategies to share with you. Whether you're new to coin collecting or you're a seasoned pro, we've got something for everyone. And who knows, the next time you check your pocket change, you might just find the next big thing. All right, so you're at home, cleaning out that old coin jar, and boom, you find an old penny. Now, it's not just any penny. It's a 1994 penny. Big deal, right? Well, hold on to your hat because that little copper disc could be worth, wait for it, $1.2 million. Yes, you heard me right, a single penny, a 1994 penny, could be your ticket to a small fortune. Now, before you start calling your grandma to tell her you've struck gold, let's dive into how this rare penny came to be and why it's so valuable. You won't believe it. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to spot these bad boys and how to make sure you don't accidentally spend your $1 million penny on a candy bar. Okay, first things first. Let's get this out of the way. Most 1994 pennies are not worth a fortune. In fact, they're worth about 1 cent classic, right? But here's where the plot thickens. Some 1994 pennies were released without a mint mark. Now, you might be thinking, so what? No mint mark? Big deal. But here's the kicker. Most pennies from 1994 were stamped with a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But a few rare, magical pennies came out with nothing. No mint mark, just a plain old penny. And these unmarked ones? They're extremely rare. Why does that matter? Well, because coin collectors are a bit obsessed with things like this. A 1994 penny with no mint mark is like finding a unicorn in your backyard. And guess what? These rare pennies have sold for anywhere between $10,000 to $1.2 million, depending on their condition and where they're sold. One penny sold for $1.2 million. Let that sink in. That's like finding a gold mine in your change jar, or a $20 bill in your pocket when you've already checked your wallet 3 times. It's just that rare. Now, here's the deal. You're probably not going to find a 1994 no mint mark penny just hanging out in your change. But if you do, you better believe you're sitting on a gold mine. So, how do you spot one of these rare beauties? Step 1. Look for a 1994 penny that has no mint mark. It's gotta be from the right year. And it has to have that smooth surface with no D or S. Step 2. Make sure it's in great condition. The better the condition, the more it's worth. Coin collectors love shiny, well-kept coins. A dirty or scratched penny won't fetch much. And step 3. You gotta get it checked by a professional. You might think, hey, I can just throw this on eBay. But trust me, you want an expert to authenticate it. They'll verify if it's the real deal before you go throwing it into an auction like it's just any old penny. There's a whole world of coin experts out there who can help you. So there you have it. The 1994 no mint mark penny is worth some serious cash if you find one. But hey, don't start ditching your lunch money just yet. The chances of finding one of these are slim, but who knows, you might get lucky. Maybe that jar of pennies you've been ignoring is hiding a little treasure, just waiting for you to discover it. Now, I've got to tell you, I actually had a pretty funny experience with a coin I thought was worth a lot more than it really was. I found a 1950 penny once, and I was convinced it was worth a fortune. I took it to a coin shop all hyped up, and the guy just laughed and said, "Buddy, that's worth about 5 cents." It was a little embarrassing, but hey, now I know better. So if you're serious about finding valuable coins, make sure you're doing your research. And remember, if you love learning about rare coins and how to spot hidden treasures, hit that subscribe button right now. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on more tips and tricks to help you find coins worth serious money. Plus, I'll share some more of my own oops moments. Subscribe, and let's keep hunting for that next big score together. All right, hold up. Before you toss that 1995 penny into your pocket or, worse, a coin jar where it'll never see daylight again, stop. You might just be holding on to a gold mine. And I'm not talking about some good luck charm myth here. Today, we're diving into the 1995 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and why it could be worth, get this, up to $1.30 million. Yup, you heard me right. You could be richer than your favorite uncle who's been hoarding his old pennies for decades. If you're thinking, a penny for my thoughts? More like $1 million for my thoughts. Stick around. This story is going to have you rethinking every penny in your pocket. Camera zooms in on the penny. All right, let's break this down. The 1995 D penny might seem like just another coin in the loose change pile, but here's the kicker. There's a super rare variety that's been turning heads at auctions for years. I'm talking about the famous 1995 D double die penny. Sounds fancy, right? Well, it is. A double die means that part of the design on the coin was struck twice, creating a doubled image. And this isn't your everyday, I might have spilled my coffee on it, doubling. This is a clear, noticeable mistake. And collectors absolutely love that. Cut to a funny shot of the host trying to spot the doubling on a penny. Now, not every 1995 D penny is worth a fortune. In fact, a regular one is probably worth, like, 1 cent. Shock, I know. But those rare, double die ones? Well, they can fetch up to $1.3 million. Cue dramatic music. So, I'm at a garage sale last summer, right? I'm digging through some old boxes, because who doesn't love a good bargain, and I find a 1995 penny. I'm thinking, hey, it's just a penny. No big deal. But then, something catches my eye. There's this weird shadowy effect on the date. It looked like the date had been stamped twice, and I started to get this little voice in my head saying, this could be it. I didn't buy it, because I wasn't 100% sure. But guess what? That penny? Worth $20. Who knew? Imagine if I'd found a 1995 D double die. I'd probably be on a beach somewhere with a margarita right now, making videos from a private island. But here's the thing. A lot of folks get excited when they hear about a penny being worth millions, and I don't blame them. But don't go searching for the next big thing just yet. You need to know what to look for in your pennies. First, it's gotta be a 1995 penny with a D mint mark. This means it was minted in Denver, and that's crucial. Next, look closely at the date and the words on the coin. If the lettering or the date appears doubled, meaning it looks like it's slightly off from the original stamp, that's your sign. But it's gotta be clear doubling, not just some weird shadow or wear and tear. If it's a legit double die, you've got something to work with. Host pulls out a magnifying glass and looks at a penny. Sometimes I feel like I'm Sherlock Holmes of the penny world. Aha, I've cracked the case. But the key here is to be patient and observant, just like in any treasure hunt. Host looks at the camera with a serious face, but then smiles. Finding a 1995 D double die penny is pretty rare, and it doesn't happen every day. But if you do find one, well, let's just say you might want to get it appraised, and fast. A penny that's worth $1.3 million can change your life. And no, I'm not saying go through every penny in your jar thinking you've struck it rich, but keep your eyes peeled. You never know when you might just stumble upon a jackpot. Before you run off and start scanning your coins, hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on more tips and strategies to find hidden treasures in your pockets and your change jar. There's more where that came from, like those dimes, quarters, and even half dollars that could make you a lot of cash. Have you ever dug through your pocket change and wondered, could there be $1 million coin hiding in here? Well, I have a story for you today that might just make you check your change a little more carefully from now on. I'm talking about a coin that's as old as some of your parents and could still fetch more than your yearly salary if you find the right one. The 1962 D Lincoln penny? Yep, you heard that right. A penny. A freaking penny. But not just any penny. This one's worth up to $1.5 million. Sounds crazy, right? But trust me, I'm about to show you why this isn't some tall tale. So, grab a snack, sit tight, and let's dive into the world of rare coins, values, and the secret treasures you might just have sitting in your change jar. All right, let's set the stage. It's 1962. JFK is in the White House. The Beatles haven't hit the charts yet, and you could still buy a Coke for a dime. Meanwhile, the U.S. Mint is cranking out millions of Lincoln pennies. The coin we're talking about today is no different from all the others, at least on the surface. But then, boom, we're hit with the D mint mark. The minting of these pennies took place in Denver, and it's where the magic happens. You see, A small error happened in the production of these 1962 pennies. Now, it wasn't a huge, world-shattering mistake, but it was just enough to make these pennies highly sought after by collectors. I'm talking about a specific version of the 1962 penny with a double die obverse, which basically means the design on the front of the coin has been struck twice. This gives the coin a blurry, almost ghostly effect that makes it stand out from its boring, run-of-the-mill cousins. If you're wondering how to spot one of these bad boys, look for doubling on Lincoln's eye, nose, and the letters in Liberty. It's subtle, but once you know what to look for, it's easy to spot. And trust me, if you find one of these, you could be looking at a coin worth hundreds of thousands, if not a couple $1,000,000. Now, I know what you're thinking, but how likely is it that I've got one of these sitting around in my change? Well, let me tell you about a buddy of mine who, no joke, found a rare penny just like this in his grandma's old coin jar. He didn't think much of it at first, but when he took it to a local coin shop, the guy nearly fell out of his chair. Turns out, it was one of the really rare 1962 pennies. That little copper disc turned out to be worth over $200,000. Of course, my buddy was beyond excited, and he was able to sell it for a pretty penny. No pun intended. And here's the kicker. The top-selling 1962 penny, in perfect condition, has been sold for over $1.5 million. That's $1 million penny. That could pay off your house, buy you a new car. Or, let's be real, let you retire early and live on a beach somewhere. But don't get too carried away. Finding a penny worth that much isn't as easy as picking up a penny off the ground. The condition of the coin matters. Coins with the double die error that are well preserved are the ones that fetch top dollar. So, if you find one, make sure you take care of it. Store it properly, get it graded by a professional, and then maybe think about making a fortune. So, how do you know if you have a 1962 Lincoln penny worth anything? Well, first, take a good look at it. Does it have that double die? If you're unsure, you can take it to a reputable coin dealer or get it graded online. Don't be shy about getting it checked out. It could be your golden ticket. So, there you have it. Your pocket change could be hiding a tiny treasure worth hundreds of thousands, or even millions. But remember, not every 1962 penny is going to be worth a fortune. You've got to know what you're looking for and get it in the right hands for evaluation. If you found something that could be worth big money, don't forget to protect it. Now, I know you're probably already hunting through your coin jar, so I won't keep you much longer. But if you want more tips on how to spot rare coins and unlock the hidden value in your collection, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss the next episode. Who knows, the next coin we talk about might just be the one that makes you a millionaire. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Until next time, keep your change close and your rare coins closer. Have you ever thought that a penny could be worth more than, well, a penny? I know, it sounds a bit nuts, but there's actually a 1964 mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.9 million. Yeah, you heard that right, almost $2 million for a single coin. Stick with me because today, we're diving into why this penny is worth so much and how you might just have one in your own collection. Or in your couch cushions, so. Let's get this out of the way first. Most pennies, including the ones you probably find in your pocket or stuck under your car seats, are worth exactly 1 cent. However, there's always that exception, that magical unicorn of a coin that skyrockets in value for some crazy reason. And trust me, if you find a 1964 penny, especially in mint condition, you could be looking at a small fortune. In 1964, the U.S. Mint produced tons of pennies, and most of them were just the typical copper-plated steel. But there was a little hiccup. During the final few months of 1964, a small batch of pennies got stamped with the D mint mark, which is located on the front of the coin, right under Abraham Lincoln's bust. The thing that makes these 1964 pennies special is that they were supposed to be made of a different metal, copper and zinc alloy, but a few of them were mistakenly struck using the old copper planchets that were intended for the 1964 silver quarters. Whoops! That mix-up created a small batch of pennies that weren't supposed to exist in that form, and that's what makes them rare and valuable today. Now, let me throw a little story at you. I once found a penny on the street. No big deal, right? I picked it up, thought about how it could maybe buy me half a gumball, and tossed it in my pocket. But what if it had been that 1 in a million 1964 penny? It's funny to think about how many pennies we all casually ignore, never knowing that some of them could change our lives. So, here's the moral of the story. Check those pennies. Don't just throw them away. The rarity factor. Not many of these pennies were made in the first place, and even fewer survive the years in good condition. The coins that have managed to stay in pristine shape are worth big bucks. The market values these rare pennies based on factors like their condition, how well they were preserved, and whether or not they're a double die, which means the design was struck twice. The 1964 penny that went for nearly $2 million was in amazing condition, with no wear, tear, or discoloration. But don't get too excited just yet. The reality is that you're probably not going to find a penny like this lying around. The odds are kind of like finding a needle in a haystack. But don't worry, there are other coins out there that could be worth a pretty penny, pun intended. Alright, so here's the deal. If you have any 1964 pennies floating around, take a second to inspect them. I'm not saying every one of them will make you a millionaire, but there's a chance you could find a little treasure hiding in your change jar or a forgotten box in your attic. And even if you don't find a $1.9 million penny, that doesn't mean you're out of luck. There are plenty of other coins out there that could make you a lot of money. If you want to learn more about rare coins, the best strategies for spotting them, and other tips on coin collecting, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We're always talking about cool finds, valuable coins, and how to turn your hobby into a serious investment. So, hit that subscribe button, and remember, don't let those pennies slip through your fingers. Keep hunting, stay curious, and who knows? Your next find could be worth more than you ever imagined. You might have one of the most valuable pennies ever made. No, I'm not talking about the shiny ones you find in the couch cushions. I'm talking about a 1967 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that could be worth a whopping $1.8 million. Yeah, you heard that right. $1.8 million for a single penny. Stick around because in this video, we're diving deep into this rare gem, its insane value, and how you could possibly be the next lucky coin owner. So grab that cup of coffee, sit back, and let's talk about why this little penny could change your life. Alright, so here's the deal. You've probably seen a bunch of pennies in your lifetime, right? They're like the world's most common coin. But not all pennies are created equal. And that's where the magic happens with the 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Here's the crazy part. Most of us have walked by tons of pennies without realizing we were holding a potential gold mine. Now, before you start raiding your piggy bank and looking under every rock, let me give you the lowdown on this rarity. Normally, every coin has a mint mark, that little letter stamped on it to show where it was made. For pennies, it's usually a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or nothing at all for those produced in Philadelphia. But in 1967, something strange happened. A very small batch of pennies was produced with absolutely no mint mark. Yep, not a single D or S to be found. Just the good old Philly coin. And that's where the magic is. In 1967, it was expected that all coins would have a mint mark, so when some came out without one, it raised eyebrows among collectors. And let me tell you, collectors love rare stuff. This specific penny, with no mint mark, quickly became one of the most coveted coins in the world. Now, one of these babies can sell for up to $1.8 million. Yes, million with an M. Now, let's get real here. Chances are, you don't have a 1967 no mint mark penny hanging around in your coin jar. But it's not totally out of the question. These rare pennies can be hard to spot, but they're not impossible to find. If you've got a 1967 penny lying around, it's worth giving it a good look. You'll want to check the absence of a mint mark, and don't be afraid to get a magnifying glass to really inspect it. Sometimes, it's so subtle that it can be hard to tell. That a few years ago, I was going through my own coin collection, which, let's be real, I've accumulated far too many random pennies over the years. One day, I found a 1967 penny, and I thought, hey, why not check if it's got that no mint mark? I had no idea about its value, but I got lucky. While it wasn't the big jackpot I was hoping for, it sparked my interest in the world of rare coins, and the rest is history. Now, I'm obsessed with learning about these coins and sharing all that knowledge with you guys. But hey, just because you don't have $1 million penny doesn't mean your coin collection is a total dud. There are plenty of other coins out there that could bring in some serious cash, like certain varieties of old quarters, dimes, and nickels. And you don't need to be a coin expert to find them. You just need to know what to look for at SO. The moral of the story? If you're holding on to a 1967 penny, take a closer look. It could be your ticket to the Coin Collector Hall of Fame, or at least a really sweet paycheck. And even if you don't have that exact penny, there are plenty of other coins out there that might surprise you with their value. If you found this info helpful or just entertaining, hit that subscribe button and join the coin collecting squad. I've got loads of tips coming your way on coins worth money, strategies for finding hidden treasures, and everything else you need to know about the fascinating world of rare coins. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, you might just have a little treasure hiding in your pocket.